Hi, Colleen here, Conscious Wellbeing. I'm here today just to give a short introduction to a series of condensed targeted practices that will concentrate mostly on a little bit of classical yoga, but also more yoga therapy, a little bit of its sister science, Ayurveda, and also a little bit of TCM, traditional Chinese medicine techniques, in particular acupressure. One thing I'd like to say about TCM is that I found it very helpful in my own personal practice. And I think that yoga and Chinese medicine have a beautiful kind of synergistic relationship with one another. They're both very complementary and they work exceptionally well together. Both are very highly developed, ancient, and comprehensive systems, actually, and disciplines that strive to achieve a state of balance and harmony within the body and, of course, the mind. So getting on, each session can be done in its entirety, or you can select maybe one or two, or whatever is really working for you that particular day. So there doesn't have to be any particular sequence to these positions and exercises. At the very least, you will find some suggestions that will be useful in your current practice. And the important thing to remember is that there should be a feeling of ease and enjoyment, along with a bit of effort, of course. Most of the effort is probably unfurling your mat at this point, but it's really helpful to gain that sense of discipline and continuity, even in healing practices and healing modalities. A therapeutic practice really just needs to support you. So we keep it inviting and not in the least intimidating. Prevention is always one of the primary goals of yoga therapy, as in all therapy, of course. We hope to get you on the upside instead of the downside, but that often doesn't work out. So just considering that, just remember that you do still need to give yourself time to rest and recover before you start any sequences of practice or physical movement. So make sure you have your doctor's okay. And if you are right now experiencing chronic pain and dysfunction in your body, or you may have an acute injury, this is really not an answer for you at this point. So again, just consult your doctor first and then maybe come visit on your healing path. So remembering that even though I'm featuring distinct areas of the body and isolating certain areas, we always want to consciously reflect and address the body as a whole integrated structure. So we typically look at everything by its parts, right? If our knee is hurting us, oh gosh, something's wrong with my knee, and you take it to the doctor, and of course it's all about the knee. And instead of looking further up or down. And this is really what we want to try and instill in these practices, is that maybe what's really the surface, this superficial pain that you feel in your knee, of course it could be the knee, and it's not that that's discounting what you are feeling in your knee, right? But that the real source of that may be further up the chain in your low back, in your hip. It could be further down the chain in your ankle, in your foot, how you stand, how you walk. Right, so these things are something to really think about, and really reflecting on the body as this whole integrated structure instead of isolating parts, which we're so used to doing. We're inundated with that, Western medicine. in allopathic medicine. So really just working towards more of a holistic filter that we look at the body through and organize it from there. So the pain and dysfunction obviously could be symptoms of a really more deeply rooted, more pervasive cause. And that's what these practices of yoga really lead us into, this depth of probing more and more, and not being so easy to just rely on what is superficial, right? We're used to going a little bit deeper, a little bit further underneath the skin. Key structural issues that are addressed by yoga therapy are one, core stabilization, very important, especially for the spine, keeping the spine supported. Hip mobility, of course, which declines as we age, but it's really the source and the bed really of movement in the body. So you really want to keep as much agility as we possibly can. Neutral spine is also very important to keep the curves of the spine in proportion to one another. And last but not least, strengthening the ligaments that hold the joints in place. Very important, especially if we overstretch and the ligaments get overstretched, then they're not really supporting as they need to. And this is something that is really important, especially on the prevention curve. So last but not least, I want to talk a little bit more about the idea of mobility. Of course, it's really important on so many levels. But then there's the other extreme. So you can see, it's all over Instagram, and it's in a lot of yoga classes and a lot of yoga schools. There's a prejudice towards more and more mobility. And of course it looks beautiful, and there's a lovely feeling in your body when you're doing these types of poses, but there's also, an inherent damage that you probably are committing to your, delicate structures. So having a sense of respect and ahimsa, non-harming towards your body. And if it's something like you're born with, a lot of people are born with just really a flexible spine and flexible hips. But everybody ages, right? And the body ages along with that. And you are going to run into some issues and limitations. And sometimes it's hard to reverse back. Like you say, I used to always do this, so why shouldn't I still be able to do this? So it's hard to let go of things. And that's also a contraction in the mind. It's clinging. And those are things that we also want to look at. These are problems of the mind, right? These are problems of the mind, and problems of the mind are always impacting the body. But working with the body, working into the ease and enjoyment of the body, can also disrupt and change the patterns in the mind that are held by the mind. And then on the other side, if we cannot address the body, so if you are in rest and recovery and you're bedridden, or you just can't really move, you can't mobilize, and we all might find ourselves there one time or another. We can also work through more indirect pathways, such as breathing practices, such as meditative and contemplative practices. And yoga is a beautiful resource for all of these. And there's something for every person's disposition. And it's just really an unending toolbox that we can explore and look for answers in our life. So with that, I hope to see you back here on the mat, and we'll go through. The first one I will offer will be featuring the neck and the shoulders. And, most of us who do, especially flow or vinyasa yoga, who I'm talking to. We all have issues with neck and shoulders. So hopefully that will be a help for you. And as always, in dedication to all the teachers, the healers out there, and all the special beings that have had influence and have blessed my life in so many ways. I thank you all for your ongoing generosity and wisdom. And I offer it back out to all of you. Thank you so much, and namaste.